Why is the shopping cart always in the top right of the screen?
How do companies predict my purchases?
Why do prices end in 9?
Why do fast food companies use red and yellow in their logos?
Why do restaurants always have one expensive menu item?
Researchers, marketers, and very curious people seek the answers for how we make decisions and how we choose products. Clicksuasion finds the secrets that companies use and shares them with you.
Why do I feel better when I bought the last remaining airline ticket?
How do I make choices based on colors and fonts?
Okay, we're going to go ahead and get started. We've only got 30 minutes and I got a lot of good stuff for you to cover today. So just want to introduce myself. My name is Maria and I'm with the Bodie Consulting Group, and I'm going to have some contact information for you later. For those of you that are like me and you like to write notes down, and I'm going to go ahead and ask you not to take notes today. I have a lot of info to cover. And if you will just put your email in the chat box, I can send you a copy of the slide deck. Okay, so today we're going to do a couple things. One, brief intro on who I am. Try not to take up too much of that. We're going to talk about the lipstick effect. What is it? And we're going to talk about some behavioral science theories, specifically related to the lipstick effect and also to sales and marketing advertisements. We're going to look at words and photos and how important those are. And then we're going to talk about a few ideas when you're crafting your new lipstick. So a little bit about me. My name is Maria again. I'm a behavioral scientist. And for those of you that don't know what that is, I like numbers. I gather numbers, I analyze them, I do statistical analysis. But the reality is that most of you don't care about chi-squared, p-values, or two-way ANOVAs. But what you do care about is what those numbers mean. And for instance, you care about how to increase employee retention. Or maybe you want to know how to craft a benefit package that millennials respond to. Maybe you want to know if your customer base is actually going to buy your product or service. And those are the kind of questions that I answer for you. Some of the work that I've done before, currently I work in civil litigation. So that means I help attorneys pick juries. I do jury research. I do post follow-up, which I think is probably one of the most important things. I'm also a mediator. So that's probably one of the best ways I've learned to get a look at what people are really thinking, because when people file a lawsuit, what they write on their lawsuit, in this case, I do magistrate court. So you actually handwrite your lawsuit. And what they write in that little itty bitty block is usually never the reason that they brought somebody to court. So I've also worked in government contracting. I help businesses respond to proposals. So basically bid on a project anywhere at the local, state, and federal level. So I've helped like a local small business HVAC guy get a contract with a county. I've also worked with some companies to help them get contracts at the government level. So with the special forces community for the military. I've worked in business development. So I've worked with a small business women's center to help them redesign an entrepreneurial incubator program. And I've also worked with nonprofits. And so it's really interesting because the way you craft a sales pitch for a nonprofit is totally different than if you were crafting a sales pitch for an investor. So a couple of things that you need to know about me that I feel are the most important is that I love coffee and I have a running problem. My thing is running. I run the half marathons. That's my sweet spot. Never quite had the inkling to run a full marathon yet. I love baseball. I go home every summer, or at least I try to, and I always plan around the baseball schedule. Rice is my absolutely hands down most favorite food. There is no way in the world I could go without it. And I think that was probably a pretty inevitable decision because I am Asian. And then also, I just want you guys to know, I'm fascinated with the decision-making process and how we as business owners, marketing, anything that in that field, how can we influence that decision-making process? So let's just dive right into it. What is the lipstick effect? Back in 2001, there was a gentleman named Leonard Lauder, and he was the chairman of this little company called Estee Lauder. I'm not sure if anybody's heard of it or not. And he noticed that every time the economy started tanking, he was selling a whole lot of lipstick. And so he starts telling people, hey, I love it when the economy tanks. I make money. And so they go back and do a little bit of a research project, and they realize he's right. So they look through at the Great Depression, World War II, Vietnam, and they look at other companies too, not just Estee Lauder. But indeed, every time the economy started going down, lipstick sales went up. And so they coined it the lipstick effect. So what exactly is the lipstick effect? Well, the theory says that when people are low on cash, they're still spending it, but they're not spending it on the same things. Where before they were spending it on big ticket luxury items, now they're spending it on things that they would coin affordable luxury. And so during these times of war, they were noticing that the affordable luxury is premium lipstick. So for those of you that are not familiar with the cost of lipstick, first, let me preface by saying I wasn't here during the Great Depression, World War II, or Vietnam, I think, as most of you can tell. So I have no clue as to what premium lipstick would have cost back in those days. But just to kind of give you a comparison, now you can get drugstore lipstick anywhere from $1 at the dollar store, $8, $10 at a Walmart or a Target, or you can start buying premium lipstick. And premium lipstick, Estee Lauder, for example, starts at $35, and it can go up to $100 for different lines. And so even though they weren't buying, let's say we're not buying a new car or that new dishwasher that we needed, but we can buy things like premium lipstick. It helps us to forget about the financial problems that we're in. It helps us to forget about the current situation that we're in. And so, for instance, COVID right now. In 2008, there was a huge change. So one, we know that there was a recession. We know that the housing market crashed and we entered into a recession. But for the first time, they realized lipstick was no longer the indicator. So all across the world, we're seeing things, the lipstick, the luxury item of choice, is changing. So here in the US, it went from lipstick to nail polish to mascara. And over in Europe, we noticed that in the UK, they were still buying mascara and hair color. Germany, they had moved on to fine chocolate. In France, they were buying ice cream. And in Italy, they were buying textiles, things like bed linens, curtains, tablecloths, things like that. So what we were noticing is that the lipstick of choice is changing, and it's still changing today. I'm going to pause for just a second. I just want to check the chat box to see if we've got any questions. Oh, Lindy, I'm so glad to hear that you love coffee too, and I'm not the only one. Okay. All right. I'm going to go back to sharing my screen. All right. So a couple of things govern money during this time. So one of the things is the income effect. It's solely based on income. And it says that when income goes down, people spend less money. And I'll be honest with you, you didn't have to be a scientist to figure that one out. So with the income effect, people buy the same products. Okay. So let me give you a couple examples here. You can buy an expensive good in a smaller quantity. So for instance, instead of going on that 7-day vacation, I may shrink it down and just go away for a weekend. Or instead of eating out 3 times a week, I may say, all right, money's tight. I'm only going to eat out once a week, but I'm still going to go to my favorite spot. So this week I may go to my favorite Mexican place. Next week I may go out to my favorite pizza joint. Another thing people do is they buy cheaper goods in larger quantities. So this is when we start seeing people buying bulk items. So you're going to see people go to Sam's and Costco a lot. Why? They're still able to get that same product that they always use, but now they can get it at a cheaper price per unit. Another thing that we see an increase in is multi-level marketing. So let me give you an example here. I like essential oils. I usually buy it through a rep and I pay retail price. But if money gets tight, I may consider becoming a rep myself so I can get the wholesale prices. There's usually a significant discount if you join. The other thing is that in some situations when money gets real tight, consumers start going without goods. And we see this right now if, let's say, you're in a household and the breadwinner has been laid off or furloughed because of COVID right now, and there is no more money coming in. Consumers are going to opt out of buying a lot of things. Another thing that we notice is something called the substitution effect. And on this one, income is still going down and people are still spending money. But now instead of buying the same products like they were with income effect, we're buying different products. We are substituting one with another. So in this case, let's look at a couple of examples. We're always buying a less expensive product. Remember that. But in this case, the first one we're going to do is a higher quality. So instead of going a night out, let's say a Friday night out, you go out with your friends, you dinner, a couple drinks, you can easily spend $100, right? But now we're not going out as much. Some of us are not going out at all, depends on where you're at. So I may want to sit back at home and treat myself to a nice whiskey. But instead of buying, whatever the cheap brand is when I go out, I may actually splurge and buy a nice aged whiskey at $70 a bottle. Still spending less than a night out, right? For some of us, we're going to buy the same quality of stuff. So for instance, how many of you go to Starbucks? I used to be a Starbucks addict. I was buying the foo-foo drinks, $5 a pop every day. But now that the money is going down, maybe I say, I don't need to go to Starbucks every day. Maybe I can go get a coffee at McDonald's. Another thing that we see quite often is people switch from a generic to a name brand. So even though it's the same type of product, it is different because it is, a different maker, but that helps them save money too. And then we see this trend where people buy things that are completely unrelated. And this one is a personal example. I had a summer trip planned. I was supposed to go to Colorado for a wedding, and I decided to make a whole, week-long vacation out of it. So I was going to do some whitewater rafting, and we were going to go do some skiing, or I say skiing and snowboarding out in the sand dunes. Whole week trip, right? Obviously, it's been canceled, and so I opted to buy a KitchenAid mixer. I had been eyeballing one for a long time now, and it was on sale, and so I bought that. So I'm still buying stuff, but I'm buying things that cost less. All right, so we're going to dig a little bit deeper into the behavioral science part. And so Daniel Kahneman came out with this book that describes two systems when we make decisions. One of them is really fast, unconscious. We don't even know that we're doing it. We don't realize that we're breathing. We don't realize, let's say if you're an experienced driver and you come up to an intersection and you see a stop sign, we don't have to stop and think and interpret what that sign means. We just know, hey, red, stop, look both ways, right? There's a second system that is referred to as system 2, and it's more thoughtful. We have to really put some effort into it. We really have to think hard. The problem is that as human beings, we don't like to think hard. We like the easy way. And so we create these little mental shortcuts, and they're known as heuristics. So basically, going back to that stop sign example, remember when you were a new driver and you were really, really aware of all of your surroundings? You really thought hard. As you approached an intersection, you read all of the signs. You made sure that you looked both ways. But as you become more and more experienced, you do less and less. It becomes easier and easier things become second nature. And so those are the shortcuts. So the problem is shortcuts lead to biases where you kind of come to these conclusions quick and easy. And I'll go back to the stop sign example. Let's say a new business is just opened up, and they want to point people in the right direction to their business. So they stick a sign at the corner, and it is a round red sign that says turn right. Of course, I think with you guys, it looks like I'm turning left. So as you, as an experienced driver, approach the intersection, out of the corner of your eye, you see a red sign that's round. You don't even look at it. You automatically think it's a red stop sign. And that's a bias because it affects your ability to make a decision, to think, and in some cases, emotions in certain situations. So framing is one of the biases that we can use. It's probably one of the most influential biases, and we use it in marketing and advertising a lot, okay? So basically what it says is that when you present, you can present the same choices in a different way to influence somebody's opinion, their attitude about something, and their choice. And the two typical ways that you present things are in a positive frame, where you're focusing on what a consumer has to gain, or in a negative frame, which focuses on what you are trying to prevent. You're preventing some type of loss specifically. Usually we think about message framing in the form of text, words, but you can also use photos. And photos are actually better because you can grasp the attention of your consumer faster. Our brain processes images much, much faster than text messages. So what the studies have shown is that when your advertisements are congruent, meaning that you have positive text and positive images, or negative text and negative images, your advertisements are more efficient. And when you use positive and negative text are different. They depend on what you're trying to get out of it. So for instance, if you are trying to build you're trying to build your branding image, you want to use positive frames and positive images, right? If you are trying to reach out to a solid customer base, an established, loyal customer base, you want to use positive images, and positive text. But if you're reaching out to, let's say, a consumer base, let's say you're going to offer an affiliate product, which we're going to talk about later, that's not somebody that you normally see, and maybe it's just a one-time sale. A negative image, a negative framing would be better. Or let's say that you are trying to solicit donations for, I see this all the time, somebody on a GoFundMe account that needs money to pay for a surgical procedure or something like that. Studies have shown that using a negative frame is actually more efficient. All right, let's look at a couple examples here. And I'm going to do a split screen just so that I can see the comments. And let's see, just once again, I know the screen is super small. So if you will double click here where it says click twice, it will increase the size, okay? So let's look at the next screen here. Which one is a better deal to you guys? Saving 30% or getting $30 off? Let's say an item is $100, okay? So if you're going to save 30% or get 30% off, which one is a better deal to you guys? Susan, you're right. It is exactly the same. But Wanda is correct that $30 off is more appealing. Studies have shown that when you are offering a discount, if you offer it in a negative frame, it's more effective to the consumer base. So let's do another one. What's more appealing to you guys as a consumer? $3 off Or if I tag in a free product. And I'm going to switch back over so that I can see the chat box. Free product. You guys are right. Free product. Studies have shown that if you are trying to focus on an added value to a customer, that's going to be more effective than offering a discount. And so what you want to do is you want to put that in a positive frame. So let's dig into a little bit more of prospect theory. Some behavioral science. And let me just check the time to make sure we're doing good. All right. So prospect theory just says people are risk averse. They don't like taking chances. So if we know that there's a gain, they want it with a guarantee. And I'm going to give you guys some examples here, okay? So if I told you you can have this $100 or you can roll the dice to get 1,000, most people are going to say, I'm cool. Guaranteed $100, not bad. But the science also shows that people are willing to take a risk if they can possibly get rid of a loss. So let's say you owe me $500 and I say, hey, if you roll this dice, instead of owing me $500, you got two chances. You can owe me $600 if you land on an odd number, but if you land on an even number, you don't owe me anything. The studies have shown that people are willing to roll that dice when the chances are getting rid of something. Okay. There are three things that we want to look at: certainty and uncertainty, isolation effect, and loss aversion. And we'll get into these. I'm going to go more in depth and give you some examples in these next few slides. So certainty. People want to know exactly what the value is. If they see the value, they'll purchase more. So examples would be free shipping. Free shipping on purchases over $50. They see a perceived value on the free shipping, and so they will purchase more. How many of you have added one more thing into your shopping cart? You may be at $40 or even $45, but you will add one more thing into that shopping cart to get that free shipping. Now, I also wanted to ask you, how many of you spent more on that single item than shipping would have been in the first place? I'm guilty of it. I'll stick another $10, $15, even $20 product in the shopping cart when it turns out shipping was only $6.99. Okay. Another one, buy one, get one free. Another popular certainty would be if one costs $30 and you offer two for $50. I didn't really need that second item, but it was too good of a deal for me to pass up. So one of Old Navy is really good at this. If you look at the example in the screen, $30 off your next purchase, right? Anybody? So you make a purchase today, or in this case, what they're trying to do is build their database, but they're exchanging something. So 30% off. A consumer sees the value in 30% off. Interestingly, uncertainty is more exciting and it builds a more positive experience for the consumer. And so what they really suggest is building on those certain things. So the ones that we talked about in the previous slide, coupling them with some unexpected rewards. So for instance, loyalty reward programs, we see them at every store you go to. I wish I had my keychain around. You would probably see about 30 of those little things that you can scan. So every time I go to the grocery store, I'm scanning it, different stores. And it's exciting because every week they may have something else that's on sale. Sometimes you get unexpected discounts when you get to the register. Another one is a free reward for a special VIP member. And so one of the things that I've seen lately is this hair company called Monet. And what they offer is memberships at different levels. But if you're one of their VIP, which is the highest level of membership, you get a free product every month. And every month it's called the Only For You line. You'll see it in the picture there. Every month they come out with 3 different products and they only reveal it at the beginning of the month and everybody gets to see it. But you can only purchase it if you're in this VIP club. Brilliant. Another thing we see is something called the isolation effect. And basically it tells us that if there is lots of different choices and they all look similar, the one that sticks out is going to be the one that your consumer remembers. And it's going to be the one that grabs their attention. So you can isolate yourself, color, size, font, shapes, things like that. Very obvious. You'll look in the example here. The top one where says long hot summer. We have 2 different fonts there. And if you look, they're talking about summers and you look at her sunglasses, right? It's the only thing on there that is a different shape, different color. It stands out because it is metallic and reflective, unlike the rest of the advertisement. Underneath it, you'll see big summer sale. That's obvious. Different fonts, different colors, different shapes, right? Right next to that, you'll see the learn more button is a different color. That is your call to action button. And studies have shown that if it is a different color, a contrasting color on your website, people can find it easier and they're more likely to click on it. Another way that you can work on the isolation effect and how to stand out is testimonials on your website, whether they are photos of a previous client and a blurb, whether it's a video on your social media or your website. Testimonials are a great way to stand out. And the other thing we want to look at is loss aversion. We want to create this sense of urgency and this sense of scarcity that says you don't have forever to jump on this deal. Like you have to do it now. And so if you look at this particular advertisement, if you look right here in the bottom corner, you're going to see right here where it says only 2 left. So somebody who is on the fence about a particular sale says, oh my God, there's only 2. If I don't hurry up and buy this, somebody else is going to get it. You can also do things limited time offers. So you'll see, I get emails all the time, limited time offer, today sale only, 24 hours, 1 week, weekend flash sale, right? Push notifications. Have you ever noticed when you're signing up for things now, they ask you for your phone number, not just email address anymore? Because now we can shoot a text out to our customer base and say, hey, flash sale, 24 hours for our VIP clients. And there's usually a link embedded into that text message. So your client only has to touch the link and it sends it directly to a landing page, a sales page. And something else that you'll see is free trial periods. So you may get to check out our website or our services for free for 7 days. And then after that, a billing cycle starts. Whole other behavioral science theory on there, but most times people will forget to cancel the trial subscription and it'll automatically start billing. But that is for a whole different webinar at a different time. All right, so just want to check in with the chat box. Are there any questions? Anything? Okay, all right, so let's talk about how you craft your own lipstick. So based on all the things that we've heard today, here are a couple questions that you really need to focus on. So one of them is, what does your customer actually need right now? As a business, we know that you need to sell products, but what does your customer actually need and what can they afford? A couple things that you want to ask. Can you beat a competitor's price right now? Chances are they're reducing theirs. Can you beat it? Can you offer something on a smaller scale? So let's say you have a product that has several components. Can you sell just one piece of that product? If you're service-based, usually in your service, you're going to have several things. So you're going to take them from point A to B, but along that way, there are several steps. Can you just sell them that one step, that first step right now? Chances are they can afford that first step. And if it's successful, they'll come back and buy the next step and the next step and the next step. So essentially, you're going to sell them the whole package still, but you need to break it up into chunks. Can you repackage your product? Can you repurpose it? What about your equipment? Ooh, there's a typo in equipment. So sorry about that, guys. But what about your equipment? So for instance, what if you are, I work for some law firms and they have equipment that is used for trials only. So overhead projectors, Elmo equipment, they're not in a trial every day of the week, but other law firms are. So they have now started renting that equipment to other law firms instead of, smaller law firms having to purchase those type of equipment for themselves. And here's another one. Instead of breaking up a bundle, can you create a bundle? So can you gather a couple of items that you normally don't sell together, bundle them together, offer a discount? What about offering a membership site or a digital product? Couple other things you can do. Advertise on several sites. Maybe you can advertise on other sites besides your website. Maybe you can start putting things on Amazon and eBay, depending on what your product is. If you sell a physical product, that's an option. What about reaching out to an affiliate program? Okay, so think about this. What if you don't have anything to offer your client right now? Maybe most of your stuff is in a $300 to $500 ticket range, and you can't break it down and you can't offer a smaller product. Can you offer something complimentary to your clients at a reduced rate? So let me give you an example here. Maybe I am high ticket clothing store and I don't have something small, but maybe I know somebody that has a jewelry store. And so I can offer an accessory. Maybe they have a really great selling set of earrings in the $50 range. So what I do is I work with them on an affiliate program. So I advertise their earring set on my website to my customer base. And every time I sell a set of earrings, I get a commission off of that. Now, what you want to do is look at affiliate programs that have something called recurring commissions. And basically, those are things that have subscriptions. So let's say you're a business owner, you have a website, and you use a company called ConvertKit. So we're sending emails, we're tracking things. So every time you tell your customer base, hey, this is a great program, I use it, I've had a great experience with it, you should use it. Use my affiliate link. Here's my link to help you get like the first month free. And what ConvertKit does is not only do they pay you when that customer signs up and uses your affiliate link, but every time they make the monthly payments to that subscription, you're still getting a commission. Okay. So that's a great way to help bring in some additional revenue. And we are out of time. If you have any questions, need any information, want me to send you the slide deck, here's my contact info. Thank you guys so much for joining today.
Thanks for listening to ClickSuasion. Subscribe to the podcast, read our research, and get in touch with us at clicksuasion.com. You can also find us on Twitter with the handle @ClickSuasion.